Truthfully, whenever I was leaving college, I thought I was going to get drafted. I averaged 18 a game. We went to the Elite Eight. I was first team all ACC. Yes. People with those accolades, they get drafted in the first round, As an American, nobody grows up and says, oh, I want to go play in Europe. No disrespect or no offense, but like when my agent told me this, oh, a team in Warsaw wants you. I was like, Warsaw? Where is that? He's like, Poland. I was like, what? And he's like, oh, it's a big city. It's the capital, millions of people. And I'm like, I've never heard of it. But did I expect him to be, one of the best point guards of all time? Maybe not, but it doesn't surprise me.
Hello, Cam. Big thanks for joining my podcast. It's a great pleasure that you find time and that finally we will able to talk.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
How Polish you are right now? I mean, in terms of adapting to Polish culture, Polish language. How is do you try to learn Polish?
I learned a little bit just from my teammates, when they're talking and stuff. I haven't learned really a lot, but I need to learn more. But I would say I've just adapted to the living, and for example, in America on Sunday, everything's open. Here, things are closed. Yeah. I've learned some of the holidays because sometimes, I have our team manager text us whenever the stuff is closed for holidays, just so we're aware, so we know the day before if we need to go get groceries or whatever the case is. So, I've got a long ways to go, but I've definitely embraced living here and enjoyed, Warsaw. This is a beautiful city. It's amazing. I was very surprised when I came here. It's no different than America, honestly, with the big buildings and the infrastructure and stuff like that. So I've enjoyed it so far.
You mentioned the Polish holidays. I saw in Legia social media that you get to what Monday is after the Easter.
Yeah, that was, if I was a kid, I would enjoy the holiday, but as a 27-year-old adult, I don't like people throwing water balloons at me and stuff like that. But, it was a fun activity for the team, and I enjoyed it. I wish we had something like that in America. I'm sure as a kid, I would have loved to have a holiday like that.
And what do you miss from America, when you're living overseas, playing overseas?
Typically this is my third year playing professional in Europe, and the 2 years before I was in a lot smaller cities, so I would miss everything. I would miss being able to go into the city and get a good food, or seeing the big buildings, because I'm from Houston, so we have the best skyscrapers in America. Well, I wouldn't say the best, but one of the best, And, I would miss things like that. But now being in Warsaw, this is, like I said, very similar to home, very similar to where I grew up. So the only thing I miss here in Warsaw is my family. All the things that I need, and, all the restaurants that they have here, it feels like home,
When I was preparing for interview, I found out that you were quite good football player. It's right?
Yeah. When I was younger, that was my first sport that I played. I actually liked football more than basketball at one point in my life. So being from Texas, we have a big culture with American football. And that's in the South of all the states in the South, football is number one. So that was my favorite thing to do.
So what happened that right now I'm speaking with a basketball player?
Yeah, as I got older, I started to grow this way and not this way. So I was like, man, I'm too skinny to play American football. And then in Texas, especially in Houston, it's so hot outside. So I was like, man, I can't keep doing this, practicing in the summer. And, I don't know what it is in Celsius, but in Fahrenheit, a summer practice or a practice in August or September, it's 95 to 100 degrees, and my body just couldn't take it. And like I said, also, I felt like my body type and the way I was built was more for basketball, so I decided to choose basketball.
And do you remember first moment when you realized, okay, I have quite good potential at basketball? Maybe the game, the season?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, since I was a kid, I knew, whether it was American football, whether it was basketball, I knew I could do something special. Like I said, I've always been very tall. I've always been coordinated, and I've always been, skillful. So I just knew from a young age, maybe from the time I was like 7 or 8, I was a kid. I didn't play with toys. All I did was play video games and play sports, so I always knew, something would be special with either one of the two sports.
And when you started being involved in basketball, and from guy who was raised in Houston, that Rockets was like your team you supported?
Yeah, of course. The Rockets, the Astros for baseball, and the Houston Texans for American football. Those were my 3 favorite teams growing up because, in Houston, we have a very strong culture. So we call it ride or die. We're ride or die for our team. So, when they're doing bad, we're upset. And when we're doing good, everybody's happy. Everybody's going to the game. So those were definitely my 3 favorite sports teams growing up.
And it was easy for you to leave home because from what I know, you switched in high school. So you came to different high school and then you came to Oklahoma, so different state. It was easy for you to leave family. Did you feel confident enough, mature enough to leave home?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely hard at first. I mean, more for the high school because, I was still 17 when I left my high school in Houston to go to, we call it prep school in America. But my family was very big on, emphasizing that this is, part of the journey. And if you want to be a successful basketball player, sometimes you have to make these sacrifices. So I was taught from a young age, because sometimes even when I was a kid, my friends would be going to parties or going and hanging out with each other. And me, I have a practice or a game. So I've always known that, you have to sacrifice for the things you want in life. So, yeah, it was tough. But at the end of the day, I knew it was, for a bigger picture. So it didn't really bother me too much, especially being in college. When I was in college, I was like, bye, bye, mom, bye, dad. See you later. College is a fun experience, There's a lot of new adventures, a lot of new people you meet, and, being a Division I basketball player, it's always been my dream. So there was no complaints there.
And you were considered as a prospect when you were being in high school. Did you experience any bigger attention at that moment? How you handle with that many top schools wanted you and you have privilege of choosing, okay, which school I can choose?
Yeah, like I said, my family was very, preparing me for the moment. So they always were telling me, keep a level head and, not to let any of these things, get into the way of the biggest goal. And at that point, the biggest goal was to go to the NBA or play professionally for 10 to 15 years and make as much money as I can to the point to where I can, after basketball, I don't have to work anymore. So for me, it was just the next step of the process. I never let it get to my head or, I never let it stop my motivation to the goal of where I wanted to get to.
And why you choose Oklahoma?
At the time, Oklahoma was the best choice. They had, I'm sure Buddy Hield. The year before I got there, and he was leaving, and another guard they had, Isaiah Cousins, he was leaving as well. And their other 2 guards that they had at the time were freshmen, and they didn't play that year. So I felt my goal going into college was to, be in college for 2 years and then try to go to the NBA. And I felt Oklahoma gave me the best opportunity to play and start as a freshman, and that's what I wanted to do. And they also had good players around them. And when I took my visit there, I liked the culture, I liked the atmosphere, I liked the people. So at the time, I felt like it was the best fit. Like you said, I had, I could have went to basically any other school I wanted to, but I think that was at the time, the best fit and the best decision for me.
And I was always interested about this recruiting process because I heard stories that these coaches and all the colleges they will say everything to convince you to join to this school. And I was thinking, is it true that they offering you everything you want just to came to like I heard a story about the fans that was preparing the transparents for like high schoolers to came to our school. And is it true?
Yeah, definitely is true, especially schools that have a very, like, for example, Oklahoma is an American football school. So, I mean, they love basketball, but American football is top priority. But like, for example, a school like Louisville, Indiana, when I got those two offers, fans are DMing me all day. Please come here. Please come here. Every time I post a picture, they're commenting, oh, we want you to be a Hoosier. Oh, we want you to be a Cardinal. Please come here. So, the schools that have the big basketball fan bases, they definitely, are crazy about the sport. And they're ride or die, as I said earlier. So, but I mean, it was a good experience. Like it's every kid's dream, to be recruited by these schools and these coaches. And I got to meet and talk to Hall of Fame coaches and some of the best coaches in college basketball history. So it was definitely a blessing and a great part of my process. Something I'll never forget.
You said that your goal was to spend 2 years in NCAA and go to NBA, but finally you spent 6 years, including this redshirt year and including this last year that you had a chance to spend last year because of the COVID. Yeah.
Oh, you did a lot of research, man.
So wait, maybe I will have some other bonus. Why you decided, like, what happened that this plan doesn't go as you expected?
Yeah, so my first year, Oklahoma, everything went as planned. I got all conference awards. I was probably the second best.
You were a newcomer of the year, I think.
Yeah. I got all newcomer. I won player of the week a couple times. I led my team in scoring. I set myself up for the next year. If I did what I did the first year, I'd probably be a draft pick, but things just didn't go as planned. Me and my coach, we weren't on the same page. It's just, part of the process. Sometimes things don't go as planned. And, that season was a nightmare for me, a disaster, You
mean the second season?
The second season. Yeah, it was a disaster. I wasn't playing as much. We were winning, but like I said, I wasn't playing as much, and I wasn't the player to my capabilities. And me and my coach, we weren't on the same page, and we kind of lost touch on things. And I decided it was best for me to move on and go to Miami. And then at Miami, I had 2 good seasons, decent seasons that I was there. I had to sit out the first year. And then the next 2 years, I had decent seasons, but I was dealing with injuries throughout those seasons. So, it was hard for me to reach maximum potential dealing with the injuries and stuff like that. So that COVID year, I feel like, since I was 18, 19, I had... obviously I got better as the years went on, but skill-wise, I feel like I've always been a player that had NBA talent. So I feel like that last year of COVID was just, a year of me not having to deal with, any issues with me and the coach, not having to deal with injuries. We were winning, it was just all the years of, the things going wrong. I had my 1 year of everything going right. And that's, all that happened that year. And that's why I was able to, be first team all ACC, average 18 points a game, lead my team to the Elite Eight. Everything just, fell in line perfectly. So, it took 5 years of sacrifice, but, sometimes you have to stay down for the come up. That's another saying that we use in America. So I can add that to the list.
I was wondering, because when I look at your story, you were like witness of big revolution in NCAA, because when you came first time into NCAA, there was still this old rules about not earning money, that you were like prohibited from like contacting with agents, like, all the NCAA. And when you were leaving, there was introducing a transfer portal, the NIL deals, and looking at the fact that you had to sit out 1 season, don't you sometimes thinking, I wish I came to NCAA like 2-3 years later.
Of course. I mean, we always talk about it. Like me and my past teammates, we're like, man, like if we were 3 years older, 4 years older, like these guys are getting millions of dollars. Like even people that don't play are getting hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's like, it's just crazy how everything has changed, and especially with the transfer portal, you know, because I had to sit out for a year.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm like, man, if I would have, you know, been 3 or 4 years older and then I decided to transfer, I wouldn't even had to sit out. And that might have changed my whole trajectory of my career. So, of course, you know, I do wish, but I wouldn't change my experience and, you know, what I went through for anything, because at the end of the day, you know, I feel like basketball has, you know, yes, it's able to help my life, you know, with, you know, being able to play professionally and make money, but it's taught me things that, you know, life lessons, you know, it's taught me things that, you know, I maybe wouldn't have gone through if I wasn't playing basketball. And, you know, it's made me mentally stronger. And, you know, I got to thank basketball for that. You know, I can't complain.
And what is your take about this current image of NCAA? Do you like this NIL deals, transfer portals? Because old coaches doesn't like, because I heard many opinions that they said, okay, it's ruined my team every year, because I heard a story about, I think, Baylor team this year, that all team like will go because most of the players going into transfer portal, some of the players like leaving, and there is no like there is not the same players. They can be sure that the same players will come back. And another side, every pro player I spoke, American pro player, is like saying it's a great idea.
Yeah. You know, I can see both perspectives, because my experience as a college athlete, we make so much money for the school, and we make so much money for ESPN and whatever network is showing our games, but we were receiving nothing. At Miami and Oklahoma, we would get what's called a stipend check. So this is, you know, what they give you just to live. We were getting maybe at Oklahoma $500 a month. Exactly. And then at Miami, we were getting $2,400 a month, but Miami's a lot more expensive, and I had to use that money to pay my rent. So after I would pay my rent, I would have maybe $1,000 left. And this is what we have to live off of. And, you know, it's okay to be making that much money, but when you're making millions of dollars for the school and for the coaches, as a player, you start to feel like you're getting taken advantage of, you know? So I'm glad that the players are getting the empowerment to be able to make money, because I was a broke college student at one point, and I understand where they're coming from. But the amount of money they're receiving maybe is a little too much, you know, especially for 18, 19. These kids are so young, and they're driving Lamborghinis and big chains and jewelry. It's crazy. I think it's, you know, I think they need to find a way to implement maybe a class or a way to teach these kids what to do with the money and how to save it, because some of these kids, they're making more money than they'll ever make playing basketball. Not all these kids are going to the NBA, you know, maybe 1 or 2 on each team. So it's definitely a disaster, but I'm glad that they were making some money, you know?
Yeah, I heard about this guy from BIU who like will earn like 6 or
6
8
million.
Yes.
AJ, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Dubatsa, something like that. But yeah, he's $6 million, and it's just like, wow, it's crazy. Like these guys are getting some of these guys are getting better contracts than NBA players. You know, so it's just crazy. But I mean, it was going to happen eventually, because as players, we were starting to get to the point to where we're like, man, we're making all this money for these people. We're getting taken advantage of. You know, I read a report back when I was in college, and they were saying that the NCAA makes, I think it was like $50 to $100 million off of college athletics. isn't that crazy? Yeah. And we're getting $1,000 a month. Like, okay, maybe we can get like 5,000 a month, you know, or 6,000 something. So I'm glad that the players are getting paid now, but I do think it's too much money they're getting paid.
And tell me about, because you have quite nice teammates in Oklahoma and in Miami. In Oklahoma, you had Trey Young, Brady Manek, who's now playing for Žalgiris. In Miami, there was Isaiah Wong. Like Trey Young is like, I think, the most like popular of these teammates. I was surprised when after your game-winning shot against Dziecki, the Trey Young like reposted this video, and I was, what the hell? Why Trey Young like reposting Polish League video, and what's going on? But then, okay, I found out that you played together. How was it like to play with him? Because he had amazing this one season, 27 points a game. And then later he joined NBA, this Luka trade, etc., etc. Now he's a star. But how was like to play with him, and how he is like not as a player we see, but as a friend?
Yeah, so I'll talk about playing with him. First of all, that's the best player I've ever witnessed with my eyes. Like, the things he was doing in that year was crazy. I watched him score 40 points multiple times. I watched him break so many records. Like, the craziest thing I've ever seen. Definitely the best player I've ever played with. A generational talent. You know, there won't be a player like him for another 50 years, I think. You know, he's a great player. He can shoot, he can pass, he can do everything. And, you know, he's one of those guys, you know, he works hard, comes to practice, do what he has to do. And, you know, in the game, whenever it's time to play, you're going to expect 20 to 30 points and 5 to 10 assists, you know. But he's an amazing player. And as a friend, you know, a great friend as well. Like, you know, we kind of knew each other before he got to Oklahoma through high school, because, you know, we went to camps together. And I mean, we never really talked at these camps, but obviously, you know, all the top players know each other in high school. So we knew of each other. Then when I went to Oklahoma, during my first year, he would come to the games because he's from Norman, which is the location of the University of Oklahoma. So he came to a lot of games. He would come on visits and we would hang out and stuff like that. And then he was like, man, you know, I think I want to come to Oklahoma and play with you. I think we would make a good duo on the court. So, you know, we kept in touch throughout my freshman season. And then he ended up committing to Oklahoma. And then we, you know, became roommates. We lived together in the dorms. And that's how we became so close. And, you know, we did everything together, you know, went to eat together. If we were, you know, going to hang out with friends, we would go together. We were roommates as well on the road when we would travel. So we built a real genuine friendship and relationship. And, you know, he's still to this day one of my good friends, one of my close friends. You know, we don't talk as much as we used to, obviously, because he's an all-star and he has so much things going on. But anytime we're in the same city or anytime, you know, it's the off season, we always try to, you know, hang out and, you know, work out together, whatever the case is. So, you know, definitely one of my great friends. And yeah, he's a great person, you know, anything I need or, you know.
Did you expect that he will jump to NBA so smooth that he will become even a star in NBA?
You know, I knew that he would be a guy that could play 10 to 20 years in the NBA and, you know, average 20 points because, you know, like I said, he had a talent that, you know, I've never seen before. But to the level that he is right now, to where, you know, he's dropping 40 on the Knicks and everybody's, I hate Trey Young. All the Knicks fans are chanting that, and being a multi-all-star, you know, it surprises me just because, you know, I see him as, you know, my normal, like I'm just, that's Trey, like that's my homie. But, you know, to the level that he's gotten to, it's crazy in a sense, because it's like, man, like yes, did I expect him to be an all-star one year? Of course. Did I expect him to, you know, be a franchise player on the team? Of course. But did I expect him to be, you know, one of the best point guards of all time? Maybe not, but, you know, it doesn't surprise me at the same time, because, you know, I know, you know, what he's capable of based on, you know, what I've seen playing with him.
and how close you were to playing in NBA? Because I know before the last season you tested the NBA market. Then after the last year, I think you entered the draft. You had like the practice session with the Pistons, with the Pacers. I saw like the photos of Penny Hardaway training with you.
Yeah.
And I think Rashid Wallace also.
Yeah, I mean, I worked out for like 15 teams.
Yeah, so tell me about this process and be honest, did you were like close to sign a contract, even not a guaranteed contract?
Yeah, truthfully, whenever I was leaving college, I thought I was going to get drafted. I averaged 18 a game. We went to the Elite Eight. I was first team All ACC. Yes. People with those accolades, they get drafted in the first round, So, I definitely thought I was going to get drafted, but I knew one thing. I knew that, the NBA is, when it comes to the draft, they like to draft the younger guys. And when I submitted for the draft, I was maybe 23. Was I 23 or 20? I was 23, gonna be turning 24 that season. So every team I talked to, that was their one negative, about me. And I knew that. So, I just tried to attack all my workouts very strong. I tried to, have a good combine showing. Because I got invited to the combine as well. So I tried my best to, keep raising my stock. And, on draft night, things didn't work out, which was okay with me. I knew that was a possibility, but I definitely thought that I was going to be able to, get drafted or maybe sign a deal that night. And then I actually had an Exhibit 10 contract from Detroit during draft night, and my agent was like, no, wait, you'll get something better. So I waited and nothing happened. But, whenever I signed my summer league with Detroit, I was just excited for the opportunity and looking forward to being able to prove myself, because I definitely thought that I was good enough to be drafted or good enough to, sign some type of guaranteed deal. And, I experienced summer league. It was fun. I got to meet some good guys, play with some good guys. And, after that, Detroit, they wanted to redo the Exhibit 10, and we were in negotiations. And, I was just kind of in a middle ground, because I'm like, man, I did so much this last year and had such a great season. And there's so much uncertainty. And, a lot of teams from Europe were calling my agent and, well, we want him, he should come to Europe. And I was like, man, I'm going to give them a couple more weeks to try to negotiate. A couple more weeks went by. They still didn't have a solution. So I said, man, I just want to play. I love basketball. Whether it's the NBA, whether it's the Europe, I don't care. I just want to play. So wherever I can go, and they're bringing open arms to me, and they want me to come now, that's what I'm going to do. So I decided, I don't want to wait and keep trying to get them to negotiate the contract. I will just go to Europe and make the best of the situation there. Maybe I can come back to the NBA, or maybe I will, strive to go to the Euro League, whatever the case is. I just want to be able to play basketball and support my life and support my family. And that was the most important thing to me. So that's how I ended up here.
Did you consider playing in G League?
I did, honestly, but I was just like, man, the NBA is very political. And I didn't want to play in the G League unless I had a two-way or an Exhibit 10, because I know how it is, Let's say I'm averaging 20 a game in the G League and everything is good, and then they say, oh, we're sending down somebody with a two-way, or we're sending one of our players to the G League. Now I'm on the bench for no reason, just because he has a contract. Yeah. So, and I kind of saw how the NBA worked, with my process. Like, they know who they want, and they have certain, you have to fit certain criterias. And I was like, man, I want to be somewhere where I can be myself as a player, where I can, as you can see, you watch my game, I shoot mid-range shots. That's my game. And I remember when I was with Detroit and we were at practice, I made a mid-range shot, and the coach, Dwayne Casey, was like, he blew the whistle. He said, hey, in the beginning of the shot clock, you only shoot threes or layups, no mid-ranges. And I'm like, but I made the shot, So it was just like, little things like that. And I was like, man, I just want to go somewhere where I can be myself and play my game and, Of course, you have to adapt your game to play in the NBA, because right now you're either going to be 3-and-D or you're going to be the go-to guy. And, I wasn't going to be the go-to guy, and 3-and-D really isn't my game. So I felt like Europe was the best way for me to either get back to the NBA or to, make as much money as I can and make the Euro League, or, have a long career playing basketball.
It's interesting thing you said about this mid-range shots, because we say, like you said, how the NBA experience like a big revolution in terms of we see like how many shots per game they're shooting, and the 3-pointers. I remember Carmelo Anthony at the end of his career, he was like criticized for like shooting mid-range, and it was his weapon for the most of the career. And what are your thoughts about this change of the style in NBA? Do you like how the NBA style of playing evolving?
I'm not gonna say I don't like it, but I do think that it's definitely changed, the game, because, when I was growing up, it was normal, we had players like Zach Randolph. Zach Randolph,
yeah, of
right?
course, Memphis.
Back to basket big, post up, throw it into the post. We had Tim Duncan, throw it into the post player, guys that are shooting mid-range like Carmelo Anthony. So the NBA was, in my opinion, normal. It was, they played basketball how you're supposed to play, but as things got older and revolutionized, now everything is based on paper. Everything's based on the analytics, the statistics. Oh, the computer says this is the best shot, or oh, the computer says this is not a good shot. And I definitely think it's changed the style, and it's changed, the youth system and the development of the players, because now you have two types of players in the NBA: 3-and-D, three. You have, for guards, you have 3-and-D. For bigs, big that sets screens, rolls and dunks, and block shots. And then you have your superstar, your guy that goes and shoots 20 shots a game, and you live and die by him. And it just made the game very robotic. You have players that, I can do this, but I'm not going to do it because the paper says not to. Or, I'm good at this, but is this player really that good? All he's doing is shooting threes. So I think it's a blessing and a curse. It has its pros, it has its cons. For a player like me, it doesn't work in my favor, because I'm a guy that, likes to have the ball in my hands. And, maybe when I was getting drafted, if I was 19 or 20 and they didn't care about my age, okay, it would be good, because I can go to a team that's not good and go shoot 20 shots a game and they don't care. But, in my situation, that wasn't the case. They were looking at me as, okay, you're going to be a 3-and-D prospect, but that's not my game. So, like I said, for some people it's good, for some people it's bad, but overall, I think that, I wish we could get back to how we used to play, because even with the foul calls, and there's a lot of flopping now, there's a lot of, you can't hand check anymore. The rules and analytics have just changed everything. And, I feel like here in Europe, they play a very natural game of basketball. If something's working, you do it. If something doesn't work, you don't do it. They don't look at a piece of paper and say, the computer says it's not that good, so we won't do it, even though it's working, So, I just think it has its pros and its cons.
Tell me, because you mentioned this time after the draft, what happened that the guy that was so close to sign to NBA team, that was named in the first team ACC, ended up in second division in Italy? Yeah,
that was interesting. Everybody asked me that question.
Sorry.
No. I understand. Everybody asked me that question because, when I was like in the summer, like I said, I was trying to work out and negotiate the deal with Detroit. So like, for example, the team Limoges that I played for last year, when I was in the summer league, they were telling my agent, oh, we want to sign him. And my agent was like, no, don't worry. We're working out a deal with Detroit. And at that time, they were playing Champions League. So I had, teams that were interested in me that were, Euro Cup. I remember a team in Italy, Trento, They were trying to recruit me. In Germany, you know, I had these high-level Europe teams that were interested at first, but my agent was telling them, you know, we're trying to do the NBA stuff, so, you know, we're good right now. But then at the last minute, I ended up saying, nah, I'm not doing the NBA stuff no more. Let's go to Europe. So all those high-level teams had already signed their players. So my agent, he was actually recommending, hey, just wait. You should just wait until later in the because, you know, some teams, sometimes they'll sign a player and maybe they don't like him in the first couple of games, and then they'll sign me. But I just wanted to go somewhere where I could play. You know, I was so, you know,
desperate.
Yeah, I was desperate because I was like, man, like you said, I'm first team all ACC. Yeah. ACC is the best conference in college basketball. I averaged 18 points. I went to the Elite Eight. Like, man, I just want to go somewhere and play. So I think it was a little bit of a rush decision, to be honest, but that was okay with me because, like I said, I just wanted to, I love basketball. You know, at the end of the day, as long as I'm playing, that's all I care about. So, and also, you know, throughout my journey, throughout my career, I've always had the harder route. I've always had to go through some shit, or I've always had to hit a roadblock, or so I just embraced it and looked at it as, you know, this is just part of the journey. This is the way God wanted things to be for me, because I never was, you know, like in high school, I was top 40 in the country, 4-star recruit, offers from everywhere. But it wasn't like as a freshman in high school, I had all these offers. No, that didn't happen for me until my junior year. Same thing with college. You know, yeah, I had a good freshman year, but I didn't have another great year until my last year. So I know everything will work out at the end of the day. You know, God just makes the journey a little difficult for me. But like I said, you know, it teaches me life. It builds character. You know, adversity has made me so strong as a person. And, you know, I love that God made me go the route that I had to go through, because at the end of the day, when I'm done playing basketball, I'm such a good human and a good person because of it. So I can't complain.
What you knew about Europe and European basketball when you were flying to Italy?
Not a thing.
Nothing. I know the great guy from University of Miami who is a legend in Europe, Shane Larkin.
Yeah.
But
that was probably because, you know, my coach at Miami, he always would talk about Shane Larkin, because, you know, our coach always used to teach us, like, you know, even if you don't make the NBA, you can still make so much money playing overseas. He used Shane Larkin as an example. He said, look at Shane. He didn't play in the NBA and he wanted an opportunity and they didn't give him one. So he went to Europe and he's making millions of dollars, and he's, you know, learning and living a different life, and, you know, living a different experience, learning new things, new cultures. And he was like, you know, at the end of the day, you don't let basketball use you, you use basketball. And I feel like that's what, you know, I've had the opportunity to do. And it's, you know, a blessing. It's a blessing.
So you knew nothing about Europe?
Nothing. Honestly, I never watched a EuroLeague game. I didn't know what Euro Cup was. I didn't know what Champions League was. I didn't know how anything worked out here, you know. Growing up, you know, your main goal and focus is the NBA. Yes. And, you know, as an American, nobody grows up and says, oh, I want to go play in Europe. No disrespect or no offense, but, you know, when the NBA isn't, whatever your home country is, whatever league is in your home country, that's what you want to do, because that's what you grew up watching. Those are the players you grew up seeing. So it's like, yeah, my main goal was to go to the NBA. So whenever it was time to go to Europe, I was just like, it's a new experience, but I'm ready for whatever, you know, whatever this experience brings.
But you mentioned, I think this is like American mindset, because last year I spoke with Isaiah Whitehead. He was an NBA player, and he told me a story when first time he left the NBA for playing in overseas in Russia. He had two offers from Valencia, which played at that time in EuroLeague, and the Lokomotiv Kuban Krasnodar, who played in EuroCup. He said, for me, EuroLeague and EuroCup was the same thing, but the Russians pay slightly more, so I chose the Russian offer. He didn't knew what is difference between EuroLeague and EuroCup, and for a guy that's playing in Europe, guys that play in Europe, it's a big difference, you know. Like, to play in EuroLeague is like the second best league in the world after the NBA.
Yeah, for sure. You know, a lot of guys in America, that is our mindset at the end of the day, because we aren't taught. We don't know, you know, our whole lives we're NBA. And then in a split second, it's okay, I'm going to Europe. Okay, well, who's paying the most money? I thought the same way, because even like those teams that I had mentioned that were offering me, I honestly didn't even want to go, because the money I got in the second league in Italy was way more than, you know, the money that the Euro Cup and the Champions League teams were offering. So at the end of the day, even if these teams would have offered me, I probably still would have ended up, I told my agent, I said, man, I'm going, wherever I go, it has to be 6 figures, nothing less. Like, and you know, is it the right way to think? To Americans, yes, because we don't understand the how things work. So for example, let's say you go to a Champions League team and you take maybe $50,000 salary and you play good. From that Champions League team, you go to Euro League and take $500,000 salary. Yeah. But we don't know that. And sometimes our agents don't know that either, because what they're doing is they're calling one of their partners and saying, hey, what offers does he have? Oh, this team? Okay. Then he hangs up the phone, then he calls us. Hey, you have an offer from this team. Do you want to go? You know what I'm saying? So it's very difficult, because we don't understand that it's chess here in Europe, you know? And, you know, in America, we're taught, okay, go where the most money is. But it's just something that you have to learn. Like, now I know, for when I have a kid, if he goes overseas, I'm going to tell him, hey, your first year, you might not be making the most money, but go to the best situation. The place that lets you have the most opportunity, and the place that's playing in the better competition. Because if you play in a better competition, you can triple, quadruple, make 4 or 5 times more money than you're making this year, you know, opposed to going to a lower league or a lower team and making a lot of money and playing good. But then whenever the time comes for your next contract, what you did isn't as respectable, because it wasn't in as much as high as a league. So in Europe, you can't think about money. You have to think about opportunity and situation. And, you know, I'm just now learning that from, you know, my experiences of being in Europe. But a lot of American players, we don't know that, because we aren't taught that. So it makes sense. And I wouldn't say it's necessarily our mindset. I just think it's a lack of understanding.
In terms of basketball rules, basketball style of play, it was hard for you to adapt to play in Europe? Because you have like different rules between NBA and FIBA.
The rules weren't too hard, because we're very familiar with the European rules, because growing up, we watched the Olympics. So when I used to watch the Olympics, I used to be like, okay, if the ball's on the rim, you can knock it off. And, you know, I knew all the different rules because of, you know, watching Team USA and all the Olympic games. But the style of play definitely was a big adjustment, especially a player like me. You know, I'm a scorer. You know, in America, someone with my skill set, they give you the ball and say, here, go score 20. And we'll build a team around you. Somebody will shoot threes, somebody will play defense, and you do all the scoring. But here in Europe, it's more team oriented. You have to find a balance between scoring the ball and doing something for the team, to using your scoring ability to help the team win. So my first year, it definitely was an adjustment. But, you know, that's why I'm glad that I started, you know, in second league in Italy, because I used that year to learn, you know, and it's kind of like, for example, when you're in school, you learn how to add and subtract before you learn algebra or geometry. So I'm glad that I was able to learn in not as high as a competition, so I could really understand, and it wasn't as, you know, fast, opposed to me trying to learn at a big competition and I'm playing with 3 other dudes that are just as good as me. So if I don't get it instantly, I'm sitting on the bench and not getting the experience. So it definitely was a big adjustment, but I was able to make those adjustments and adapt, not necessarily quickly, but I was able to do it over time and in an efficient way, with learning and understanding.
Funny thing for me, watching sometimes young American players playing in Europe is like the situation when at the end of the game, the player is trying to call a timeout. And
yeah.
in Europe, we can do that. And I saw in the second division, the team, Poland team lost the game because the player wanted to call a timeout and man, you can't call the timeout.
Yeah. It's like I said, you have to learn, and it's part of the process, because here in Europe it's a completely different game, and you do have to learn a lot of things. Like even with my biggest thing I struggled with was when you get the ball and you you swing through, you have to put the ball down first before you take the step. In America, you can take the step and then put the ball down. So it was just a lot of little things that you have to learn. But with time, you start to learn and adapt, and start playing well.
You said that you knew nothing about Europe, so I suppose obvious question, you knew also nothing about Poland.
Nothing. The only thing I knew about Poland was Auschwitz, honestly, because I learned that in school. But in America, our geography is very limited in school. I mean, we learn about other countries and, all these other places, but most of the studying we did about Europe was about France, Spain, Italy, and Germany. And the learning we did about Poland all was from World War II. So that's why Auschwitz was the only thing I ever knew about Poland. Like when my agent told me this, a team in Warsaw wants you. I was like, Warsaw? Where is that? He's like, Poland. I was like, what? And he's like, it's a big city. It's the capital, millions of people. And I'm like, I've never heard of it. So, man, I knew nothing about Poland, nothing.
Yeah, usually American players told me that, I think Tarek Filip from Trepsopo told me that the one thing you know about Poland is Gortat. And Gortat's green.
Yeah, Gortat too. I knew he was from Poland as well, but it wasn't a lot of knowledge that I had from this country. But man, I've learned a lot, and I really like Poland. I really do. It's a very modern. A lot of people speak English, and this city, Warsaw. I mean, it's beautiful, man. It's amazing. I love Warsaw.
And it was easy for you to adapt after this 2 years in Europe. It was easy for you to adapt to a new place, to a new country. What surprised you? Did you experience like shock culture?
All the surprises that I had this season in Warsaw was all positive. Like, when I first landed and the team manager's driving me to my apartment, I'm like, what? This is Warsaw? Like, this feels like America, like, and then never won. Like the last 2 years I played in, so my first season in Italy, I played in a city called Piacenza. And then the second season I played in Limoges. And those places, man, depressing. Honestly, like, I love Limoges. I love their fans, I love Limoges' fans. Limoges has the greatest fans, but the city, it's in the middle of nowhere. Everybody's old. The weather is, the clouds are always covering the sun. It's always cold. Like, that was very hard, it was very hard. But, coming here, I mean, yeah, it's cold here and stuff, but the people are amazing. It's a young city. People are coming here. A lot of tourists are here. All the buildings, everybody speaking English. It doesn't even feel like I'm that far from home, So this was definitely the fastest season for me. Everything went by so fast because it doesn't even, feel like I'm in Europe, besides not being close to my family.
And what about the level of the Polish league? Because the most foreigners usually mentions one thing about Polish league, that referees allowing for match contact.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a physical league, which, I was always, for example, whenever you watch American movies and you watch these how do you say it? Like these movies about spies and stuff like that, they're always either Serbian, Croatian, Russian, or Polish. So I already knew that this was going to be a physical league, because I know from watching these movies that the Eastern Europeans are always super strong and, very physical and very, just tough-minded, So it doesn't surprise me. But, the refs are, they let you play here, which, I kind of like, because I'm not a big fan of the flopping, I don't play basketball that way, So I'm glad that it's not like oh, you touch him and it's a foul. You know, you have to actually foul the person. So I like it.
But did you have a chance to play against some players in NCAA that plays right now in this league? Because there are so
yeah. Let me think.
I know that Nahim Alain from Tref is NCAA.
Yes. I played against him at Virginia Tech for like 2 or 3 years when I was at Miami. Yeah, if you ask him about me, he'll tell you, Cam gives us 20 every time we played him at Miami. Yeah, we had, Miami and Virginia Tech. It was kind of like a derby for us, They were always they're a very good program and always have good teams. We're a good program, have good teams. All their good players are guards, and all of our good players at Miami were guards. So it was a dogfight every time we played them.
Yeah, there's some right now in Polish league there is some good players with good experience in NCAA or NBA. Like Maciotik also is a NCAA champion. Like the Nick Johnson was like the prospect in high school.
Yeah.
Isaiah Whitehead, he's an NBA player. Like Kiefer Sykes, he played also.
Yeah, played in the NBA also. Yeah, no, there's a lot of good competition here in Poland.
Your coach of Tref, Jan Tabak, he was an NBA champion with Rockets.
Really?
He was backup for Hakeem Olajuwon.
Really? Wow, that's crazy. See, I didn't even know this. Man, that's crazy. But yeah, there's a lot of competition here. I mean, does it surprise me? No, because we're professionals, As a professional, when being a professional isn't easy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So any league you go to, it's going to be, good players. But there's a lot of great players that are in this league. And it's a very good league. It's a very strong league. And I've enjoyed the experience here. It's definitely taught me a lot of things. And I played against a lot of, like Nick Johnson. When I was in high school, I grew up watching him play. He was a top player in high school. He went to Arizona. Arizona is one of the, biggest programs in America. I watched him play with, man, what's his name? Give me a second. Gabe York. Him and Gabe York played together. Gabe York was another one of those hoop mixtape guys. Big recruit coming out of high school. Arizona was, one of the teams I always liked watching. So, playing against him was kind of like I was like, wow, it's Nick Johnson. But then it's like, man, it's Nick Johnson. I gotta, lock him up and give him 20, and same thing with Whitehead. Like Whitehead was a sensation in high school. Any player in my generation, they grew up watching Isaiah Whitehead. He was always on Ball is Life, always on Hoop Mixtape, and he had that New York swag, that New York dog in him. And even when he was at Seton Hall, he was killing it. He was killing it. In the NBA, I didn't watch him so much because, watching the NBA is very hard just because they have so many games. So I typically only watch NBA during the playoffs. And I don't think the Nets when he played with the Nets, I don't think they made the playoffs.
That was a bad time of the Nets.
Yeah. I don't think they made the playoffs. So I didn't really watch much of him in the NBA. But in high school and college, I remember every day I used to go on YouTube and go on Ball is Life and watch him, the Harrison twins, Kelly Oubre, all these, top high school players. But he was definitely one of my favorite ones to watch for sure. So playing against him was kind of surreal too. It's like, damn, it's Whitehead.
Coming to the end, because I suppose you heard this name a few times when you played for Legia, Christian Vital.
Yeah,
he was a player last season.
I played against him in college too when he was at UConn.
Really?
Yeah.
Because he was a point guard. He's a point guard. You were a shooting guard more, but. Do you feel well with comparisons to him when it comes to the role that the role that you have to lead the team? Because he was scoring 20 points a game, you're scoring 20 points a game. He was making great impact in the team. Sometimes he can alone. I don't want to say that he alone won the games for Legia, but he was a big star for this club. The same thing with you. I saw I had the chance to see live your game against Dziecki when you have amazing the end of the game. Do you feel well with comparisons?
Yeah, I think as individual players, I think we're a lot different, because like you said, he's a point guard.
He's a smaller.
Yeah, he's a smaller guard. I'm more of a bigger guard. Our games are different. You know, I'm more of a mid-range, get to the rim. He can shoot. He has more range. I think. But at the end of the day, I think what we bring to the team and the leadership that we bring is for sure the same. Like you said, we're both leaders of our team. We both go get 20 points a game. We both, in some instances, in some games, at the end of the game, we're the guy that you give the ball to and say, hey, take us to the promised land, you know, and win us this game. So I definitely think there's a lot of similarities. And, you know, when Aaron called me, our GM, when he called me this summer, you know, that was kind of our plan. Like he said, you know, I want you to come here and, you know, come lead our team like Vital did last year for us. So I definitely think we have similar roles, but as individual players, we do the job, but in a different way. So. And
with whom you have best contact in the club? How is like to find the connection with the Polish guy and the coach? It was easy for you?
Yeah, it was a lot. It was very easy for me. You know, like in Poland, there's a lot of, you know, modern culture here. You know, and a lot of, you know, they know. For example, all of my teammates, they all listen to American music and rap music and stuff like that. So we're very like in tune, in sync. Like there's not too much of a difference between us, and you know, the way we get along in the locker room is very cool. Like I feel like all of our teammates, we all get along very well. And you know, the last 2 years I've been in Europe, it hasn't been like that, but like here in Poland with our guys at Legia, like, of course, you know, I probably hang out with the Americans a little more because, you know, they're from my home country. Sure. But there's been times where me and some of the Polish guys, we go get some food or we hang out here or hang out there. Like, I feel like this is the most connected I've been on a team as a professional. And, you know, we all get along, we all do things together. So, and, you know, they know all the stuff I know, you know, and we also have, you know, a lot of players, like, for example, Andre, he's played in Spain. Yeah. And, you know, I played in Miami. So we relate to the Spanish culture a little bit because, you know, in Miami, there's a big Spanish population and stuff like that. So like today in the training room while I was getting treatment, we were talking about Bad Bunny because, you know, I have the Bad Bunny shirt. And we were talking about some of his songs and showing some of the songs to our physio and our trainer. So it's just like, you know, we have players that are very cultured, and, you know, whenever you have culture and, you know a lot of the same things, it's easy to relate to each other.
We talk a lot about NBA, so we will end about NBA. When you now thinking about yourself and NBA, do you see NBA as a dream or as a goal? And like the second question, what are your like long-term goals when it comes to your career?
Yeah, so I definitely do still see the NBA as a goal. I mean, I think that I have the skills. I think I have the talent to be an NBA player. I think I've proved that in college. I think I've proved that as a professional. And, you know, I've just, you know, life's a journey, you know, so you have ups, you have downs. As long as you stay level-headed and every year you get better mentally, physically, with your skill, everything will work out. So, you know, if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, hey, no problem. At the end of the day, my goal is to play professionally as long as I can, make as much money as I can. And when I'm done playing, you know, invest my money and just chill, enjoy time with my family, you know, hopefully have a wife and some kids and spend time with them. But as long as when I'm done playing basketball, I don't have to work anymore because I invested my money the right way or opened a business or whatever the case is, I feel like all the 20, 30 years of me playing is worth it. So that's my goal at the end of the day.
You don't see yourself as a coach after a career?
You know, I've thought about it, and I don't have a passion to coach. But of course, if, you know, if Miami was like, hey, would you like to be an assistant coach? Of course, no problem. Yeah, I'll coach. But, you know, like, I don't think that I would like start from the bottom and work my way up. Like, I don't have a true passion for coaching. My true passion outside of basketball is to be a businessman. I want to put on a suit every day, have my driver pick me up in my Escalator, my Tahoe, and take me to my office building, walk in.
But it's like banking business. What's like environment?
Right now, I really don't. So I know I want to get into real estate. So flipping houses or buying land and building houses on the land and selling it to people, real estate for sure. And then I also would like to get into franchising businesses. I just don't know what business I want to get into. Like in America, we have a popular restaurant, Chick-fil-A. I'm sure you've heard of before.
Yeah, or Wendy's also.
Yeah, Wendy's. Yeah, like I would like to franchise one of those, or a couple of those. Shaq. He has like, they said like 100 and something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I forgot what company it was. Maybe it's Starbucks. So one of those famous, but he has like 100 of them. And it's like, man, if I could, okay, maybe I may not be able to get 100, but if I can get like 2 or 3 of these and just, be a businessman, and I don't know exactly which route I want to go, but I just want to be an investor and being able to invest my money into things that make more money and build passive income. So it's like I have 5 or 6 things bringing me money. So I can just relax, enjoy life, train my kids, spend time with my wife, whoever that will be, because right now I'm single. So I don't necessarily have a specific goal with the business, but I for sure want to have businesses. So,
and a part of staying healthy, what I can wish to you?
Thank you. What do you mean by
that? Because usually at the end, like on Christmas or the birthdays or the special occasion, we wish, all the best, health, to have the money. So what I can wish to you?
Okay. Man, honestly, just health, number one, and just being able to have freedom, financial freedom. That's the other thing, because some people, they like in America, we have the saying, we live to work. Like we spend our whole lives working. And what's the point of that if you can't enjoy it with your family? So I would say the financial freedom, the health, and those are probably the 2 biggest things that I care about. And obviously, spending time with my family, but that goes in with the freedom. So yeah.
Okay, so I wish you this, and once again, big thanks, Kameron, for joining my podcast. It was a great pleasure to host you. It was a great pleasure to hear your stories, and I wish you, your family, and your team all the best, and hope you will play as long as you can, as you want, and earn as money as you can.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for having me. I had a great time having this conversation with you, and thank you.